Hey guys, this is Layla Preston from motherhooddiaries.com, and I want to talk to you about this really amazing summer campaign that the boys and I have been working on, which is all about getting your children to frequent their local parks and playgrounds this summer and keep them off the screens. First, I want you to cast your mind back to around 20 to 30 years ago. Do you remember back in the day when smartphones and tablets didn't exist, and the only way to keep you occupied during the summer was to knock for your friends or search for them at the local park or playground? Do you remember ever being indoors during the summer holidays, only heading back home for tea, which would generally be at around 5 p.m, and then before you knew it, it was bedtime? It was such a magical time, wasn't it? Well, fast forward to the present day, and life has changed drastically. We are now living deep in the throes of the digital age, so instead of knocking on your friend's door to find out whether they're in, you can now send a WhatsApp message, or you can slide into someone's DMs. And instead of searching for them at the local park or playground, you can now stalk them on social media or call them to find out where they are. Now you don't even need to leave your couch to occupy yourself. You can play a game on the smartphone or the console, or you can watch a show on Netflix on the tablet, and you have no idea what time it is because you haven't been out all day. Well, welcome to our kids' lives. And frankly, I find it depressing. With an average of 18.6 hours spent on screens as opposed to 10.7 hours played outside each week, this new world is causing an epidemic of obesity, mental health and sleep problems in our children. And children are simply not getting enough outdoor activity to counteract this new form of indoor living where screens take up a predominant amount of their time every day. In America, 5 to 8 times as many high school and college students have been diagnosed with major depression or anxiety disorder as 50 years ago. But if the kids are spending most of their time indoors, who are using the parks and playgrounds? In 2016, the Association of Play Industries researched the state of England's parks and playgrounds and discovered that during 2014-15 and 2015-16, local authorities across England closed down 214 children's playgrounds, with plans to close a further 234. And that's not all. In 2016-17, local authorities closed down another 63 playgrounds, with 2017 a further 70 were closed. That's 347 playgrounds closed since 2014. There will be a decrease in spending on playgrounds of over 13 million each year across England, and by 2020 to 21, there will have been a decrease in spending on play facilities by almost half. That's around 25 million. API know how fundamental play is for children and how necessary it is for their natural health development, not just for burning calories, but for nourishing the mind and the soul as well. So inevitably, this rapid decline in playgrounds is having a counterproductive effect on our children and taking away vital active play opportunities, which is what's leading the rise, along with increased screen time, in obesity, mental health and sleep problems. Knowing that there is a link between the rapid decline of outdoor parks with playgrounds and children's health problems, API took it further and commissioned Mumsnet, the UK's biggest parenting website, to survey 1,111 parents with children aged between 2 and 12 years old to find out what they thought. And I'm telling you, the results were even more harrowing than you think. It turns out that 72% of parents, that's over 2/3, with children who suffer health issues like obesity, agree that lack of outdoor play facilities in their area has played a role in their children's problems. And over a quarter of parents who have children with mental health problems also believe this was down to the lack of parks and playgrounds. And also 26% of the parents said that the lack of park facilities also contributed to sleep problems. So API created a campaign called #PlayMustStay, which calls for urgent investment in playgrounds before they disappear forever. And as this is a national crisis that affects us all, the decrease in spending on play facilities will end up costing the taxpayer more money in the long term due to the significant impact on children's physical and mental health. And in short, if we cut outdoor play money now to save money, we will end up paying more in medical costs later. So are the local authorities cutting their nose off to spite their faces? The Mail on Sunday further investigated this decline in playgrounds and found that nearly 2 playgrounds a week fall victim to neglect, vandalism and property developers. So they created their own campaign, Save Our Parks, which has been attracting lots of support from leading political figures and members of the public. So what can we do now? API's Play Must Stay campaign launched on the 4th of August 2019 and quickly gained traction amongst parents and leading figures in the industry who are now standing up against local authorities to halt closing down our local parks and playgrounds. I joined the campaign with my 2 boys aged 7 and 8 years old, and we set up a summer challenge to keep them outdoors and off the screens. We frequented as many of our beautiful local parks and playgrounds as we could muster, all while I was heavily pregnant. I won't lie, I was worried, no, I was petrified at how I was going to entertain these boys during the summer, especially as I'm unable to move as fast as the boys desire. But we did it. We did it with a bit of help from football camp and our beautiful local parks and playgrounds. I documented our journey via social media, which you can find on Instagram under the highlight hashtag #PlayMustStay. So we headed out early, we came back late almost every day during the summer, and after just a few short days, our evenings had transformed from a constant uphill battle to get them to bed before 9 p.m, calm dinners, far less screen time, and bed by 8 p.m. with little to no tantrums. I never thought I could tire my kids out, believe me, but a combination of football camp, soft play during the rainy days, and visiting our local parks and playgrounds resulted in much more emotionally stable children with exhausted energy that made them feel more at ease with themselves. They also requested the TV and phone for far less, and even though it was harder for me to find the will to get out of the house, I was paid in dividends later on in the evening. I got my me time back so I could rest and do what I wanted for a change without having to deal with moaning children coming down every 5 minutes and then finally passing out from exhaustion. So where did we go? So we live in Radlett in Hertfordshire, and so we are blessed with lots and lots of really beautiful parks and playgrounds in the area. Unfortunately, all but one require a car to get to from where we live, but as we had the car, we could enjoy them all. So Phillimore Park is our most local park. It takes about 20 minutes to get there by walk. It's quite a steep uphill walk though, so it was very difficult for me to get up there every single day. It has a bit of everything for little ones, and older children as well. The park splits into 2. It's got a large field which has adjacent tennis courts, and it's got a cage which has a basketball hoop and football goals, and the other part has a playground with a small play area for younger kids, and for older ones you have a range of play equipment like a zip wire, climbing frames, and other standard play equipment like swings and roundabouts. And the next park we visited was Aldenham Country Park, where me and my 3 siblings used to head to when we were kids, and it's so great that I can offer the same to my boys, the same experience. And Aldenham Country Park is truly fantastic. There are lots of different areas to enjoy. You've got a challenging obstacle course which is perfect for kids who love climbing. You have adjacent adventure playgrounds. You have a farmyard where you can feed the birds and other wildlife animals. You can buy fresh produce, a fantastic nature trail walk which is about 10k, which has a truly breathtaking view all around. You can finish up by the lake where you can see a family of geese and poultry going about their business as you head back to the car park and you finish up with some delicious ice cream. We go throughout the year, even in the colder months, because nature is stunning there. This summer was the first time we had visited Harwoods Adventurous playground in Watford, and even though it was challenging to get to the park without the car, and the car park is actually quite far away, it is truly a magnificent play world for kids. There is a long wooden adventure obstacle course which will keep the kids busy for hours as they travel around the park, and separate football basketball courts, as well as lots of seating areas for parents and heavily pregnant women like me. Rural Park in St Albans is enormous, with lots of different sections where kids can go wild. There is a paddling pool, various play areas, an adventure playground, and even a splash park. Over the summer we also saw a bouncy castle, lots of little cafes, so there's something for kids of all ages. Shenley Park is our second local park. You can walk there, but it takes about 6 kilometres to get there on foot. It's a lovely area with a small playground, a beautiful nature trail, an orchard, and a cafe where you can buy fresh apple juice and really delicious food. Canons Park in Stanmore is our most treasured park because my siblings and I grew up down the road, literally minutes away from the park. So we would go very regularly with our dad when he would come home from work. We now do the same with our kids, and since we were young, a new playground has been installed with lots and lots of different play areas for kids to burn their energy. We also have lots of walking trails, open greenery and a flower garden with a lake so that you can spot water wildlife and beautiful flowers. It is truly a wonderful, wonderful park, but for some parents, parks and playgrounds are not accessible, and it's not always so simple to visit your local park. As mentioned above, our closest park is a 20-minute walk away, longer now that I'm waddling. And so this means I can't always take them to the park, even though I wish I could, every single day. And even though we have a car, parking can be difficult, especially during the peak times. As for some parents who don't have a car or can't even get to a park, how do they burn their kids' energy? If parks and playgrounds are not accessible, then many parents don't have the chance to take their kids out. So their kids end up staying indoors, and to cut a break and have some peace or even get things done, sometimes the screen is all that's available for them. Half of the parents surveyed said that their child prefers screen time over other activities, and other parents found it difficult to persuade their child to leave the screen. So it's important to express that I am in no way judging any parent for any choices that you make, because we are all in the same boat. Life has thrown us a myriad of tasks, and we have to be all things for all people at all times. We're homemakers, we're cooks, we're workers, we're friends, we're confidants and project managers. So sometimes it's just easier to take a few minutes to a few hours break, and so we should support each other and not judge each other for the choices that we make. I actually spoke about this very issue with Eddie Nestor on BBC Radio London.
So I'm working on this large summer campaign at the moment with API Play on how to get, getting the kids outdoors and in the parks and the playgrounds. So I feel almost quite guilty putting them on the iPad. So we've just been spending most of the summer just been outside.
No, we're not going to do that, Layla. We're not going to do that because guilt is a composite. This is one thing I know, right? Dr. Nestor knows this. Guilt is a composite part of being a parent, right? So you're not on your own. And anyone who's listening to this as a parent, there are times when you've just got something to do, and the little one is saying, "Can I have a little time, please?" Right? So nobody's judging anybody here.
I totally agree with you. I think parents should, first and foremost, not judge each other, because we're all in the same boat. We're all suffering with this big onset of social media and digital screens, and then also being, like you are a parent as well. You understand, like, we have a multitude of tasks that we have to do every day, and we need to get it done. And there's lots of pressure on us to get that done whilst looking after the kids. But having said that, I do think it's massively important, and we should accept responsibility that we do need to make sure that our kids are not spending X amount of hours on the screen.
None of us know how much is too much.
They're monsters when they're on the screen. I can't handle them. I really suffer with my two boys because they're full of energy, and when they sit down on the screen for however long they take, and I take the screens off them, they're on it at each other's throats, and you can see that there's all that energy that's inside that's busting to get out, and then it's like, well, what have I done? I've just stuck them on the screen to do something, and now I've just made life worse for myself.
So what happens from here on? We need to urge the local authorities to stop closing down parks and playgrounds and to increase their spend so kids can have their unstructured outdoor play, which proves to be far more beneficial physically and mentally than structured play. We need investment in public playgrounds before they disappear for good, and we need an appointment of a dedicated cabinet minister for children and young people to lobby for investment in playgrounds. Playgrounds are not a luxury. They are a unique and essential resource for the benefit of our children's physical and mental health. If a playground is gone, it's gone for good. And so a relatively modest government investment now will pay huge dividends for our future generations. I spoke about the dangers of closing down parks and playgrounds on BBC Radio London with Jason Rosen.
We've got beautiful parks and playgrounds around us, but they're not within walking distance. That's the problem, and I think this is where the key is. So I'm very heavily pregnant. I'm 38 weeks pregnant, and I've got two boys who are 7 and 8, and we have to walk 20 minutes to get to our local playground, which, by the way, is beautiful. And we've got lots of different parks and playgrounds around us, but we need to use a car to get there. And I think the problem that 72% of parents are having is this issue of getting to the parks and playgrounds because they're not on our doorstep.
But how can we solve that then? I mean, we need to find bits of land that we can turn into playgrounds, I assume.
Yeah, I think the government needs to really to understand that what they're doing is they're cutting off their nose to spite their face, because they're trying to save money, but we're doing it in a sense that's going to cause an epidemic for our children in the future. And then we're going to need more money to deal with mental health problems and medical problems for these children who are already experiencing an obesity crisis. These kids need unstructured outdoor play to have the ability to be able to grow. MPs were saying in 2017 there's about 27,000 parks and playgrounds at risk. I mean, and what is that going to do? That if we close 27,000 parks and playgrounds, what's that going to do for us parents?
Where can we go from here? Is there any possibility that, what's the campaigning element of this?
I think the biggest call here now is to stop the government from closing down any more parks and playgrounds and actually urging them to increase their spend. Let's all support each other and try and campaign to get the government to consider how important it is for our children.
And later that day, I spoke with Phil Kennedy on BBC Berkshire about the need for more parks and playgrounds and how we got on visiting our local parks, which helped me handle the kids during the summer holidays while being heavily pregnant.
I enjoyed this campaign because, I'm quite heavily pregnant. It was easy for me to walk the 20 minutes to our local park. It's now nigh on impossible because I don't have a car now. And parks and playgrounds are not on our doorstep anymore. And even though I come from Hertfordshire, which we have fantastic parks around us, they're all within driving distance. And I think that's the key area to focus on here.
So please get on the back of this campaign. Get onto social media using the hashtag #PlayMustStay and document your own journey with your kids. Do you have physically and mentally happy children who visit their local park or playground almost every day? Or are you in an area where parks and playgrounds are scarce or not on your doorstep, or your local park or playground has been closed down? Let's get this campaign trending on social media so the government listen up and do something about the future of our children's health. I'm going to link to the latest coverage on the Play Must Stay from API in the link below, and the full article that I'll be writing on this as well. So thank you so much for listening. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to hear more from me, especially more about the Play Must Stay campaign, please subscribe to my channel and I'll keep you posted. Click on the bell as well to make sure that you're notified. And thank you again for listening. This is a massively important campaign and I hope you can get on the back of it. Thank you.